And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
That is Josh the Punk Thompson, but I'm not. I am Big John McCarthy, and I am here and ready to do another edition of the Weighing In podcast. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, the guy generating all of the buzz, Podcast Dave. He's on the other side. Boo, and then we got my man, the Punk, Josh Thompson. He's not a punk, though. That's a horrible nickname. Really is a bad one, man. Horrible. You know, but a lot of people just don't like you just because of your nickname. They think you're a punk.
Like me because of my good looks and my jawline. Let's not kid ourselves. Jeez, the hairline, now I know. The jawline, the dimples.
You just went right back to that punk.
Man, I'm gonna start calling it the Luke Rockhold effect. The good looks just people hate me, man. They hate me.
I can understand that one.
But hey, after last weekend, man, people love him. I was reading the comments, all 1,000 of them, man. People were blowing him up, saying, hey, his whole career, I didn't like him, but he won me over, not just with the fight, but not with his comments afterwards and being real. It was the realest we've ever seen him be. There's people clamoring. They're like, dude, he's got a lot left in the tank. The altitude was a huge problem. Like, let's not be mistaken. He's got it still. He can do it. I'm like, yeah, but there's just people that they realize what they used to be and they understand that that's not what they are now. And it's time to move on. I'm happy for him, man. He announced, I saw that earlier today. I'm gonna give him a little rub. He basically said that he notified the UFC and that he is officially going to be retiring. So it wasn't just something in the moment in the cage saying, hey, I'm done. I'm old. I'm done. And no, it's like, it's for real now. So I'm happy for him. I want to give my boy a lot of love. Great career. You are an absolute legend, and you are someone that will be extremely missed in the cage. But to believe, and there was some we'll talk more on this later on, he is absolutely a Hall of Famer. Not just like he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Former Strikeforce champion, UFC champion. He's fought the who's who. You go through the list of the guys. He is that guy. So we'll talk more about that later because we've got some stuff to talk about on that topic, as well as, on the Luke Rockhold situation, some comments that were made about him and stuff. So we'll move on with that. But first, let's go to weighinginpodcast.com and pick up some of our merch that is available. We got the 10-8, 10-9 round by Josh Thompson. Josh just handing out the 10-8 rounds to Big John McCarthy every single time on this show, as well as on our other show that is available on our Shorts channel called 5 Rounds Main Event. It's only available on that channel. Make sure you guys go down to the descriptions. Hit that link in the descriptions. That will take you to our Shorts channel, our Clips channel, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and we have a special show that is on there. It's only available on there. You guys hit that link down below. Go there, hit subscribe, hit like, all of those things. Get the notifications. We want to thank you guys for continuing to support us.
Can I ask a question?
John, absolutely not.
Well, what is it like to live in a land of leprechauns and unicorns? Because you live in fantasy land all the time, dude.
I love it. I love it. You should come join me one of these days. It's beautiful up here.
It must be
beautiful. I mean, if you've not seen unicorns, you would never understand that they existed.
Okay? There you go. There you go.
Well, I'd have to lie to you and then tell you the truth. So
there you go.
All right,
let's lie to you just to tell you the truth.
Just to tell you the truth. All right. Look, let's jump into some. We got one card this whole week, and there's no fights.
There's nothing. One FC is it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was watching Mr. Rich Franklin doing a little bit of an interview and stuff, talking about Amazon Prime and the One FC is going to be easier to see, and that's a good thing. And they're talking about coming to the U.S. with their rule changes. The what do they call theirs? The universal rules or something? I can't remember what it is, but different rule set. It's going to cause a lot of problems. I'm just waiting for it. I'm so glad that I'm really not part of that, and I don't have to listen to it because, it's going to cause some problems. It's great. So good for you, One FC. We do have a rematch.
Wait. What do you mean by problems?
Oh my God. I want you to think about this. Take a look at, just take a look at MMA in the U.S. right now, in North America. How many rule sets do we have? But they're all close to that unified rule that was original. You're going to bring in knees to the head of a grounded fighter. I love that.
Yeah. Do we have 3? We have three different rule sets?
Yeah, there's basically 3 different rule sets right now.
Okay, and then you're going to bring this one in. So this is going to be 4.
That would be 4.
But this one's a lot different.
This one's quite a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's going to be some hiccups, I think, with these referees in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo,
It's going to be a
stand by.
problem. I think what's going to be a problem is sometimes if one ends up coming here a lot more often and they start establishing themselves, which I think a lot of fighters are hoping they do, because they're a great organization. I worked for them for years doing commentary work, cage side. Did a lot of work with Rich Franklin. He was my cage side commentary guy for a while, and a couple times he would jump in. Matt Hume is over there, who is a great guy as well. You know Matt for years now. They've got a good. Misha Tate used to work with them. You know, when the COVID hit and she decided to come back and fight. But I do know that Chatri has offered her job back whenever she decided she wanted to come back. They're a good promotion. I enjoyed working with them. Great people. Their executive producer, Bo, is there, and he used to be at HDNet. I used to do the commentary at HDNet with Kenny Rice and Boss Rutan and those guys. So I did a couple shows with them as well. Just good people over there. So great organization. If they continue to come over here with that different rule set, it will be something different. A little bit how BKFC is kind of making a little bit of splash. It's giving fighters an alternative place to go. Let's just be honest, John. I've had several talks with managers. You know, this is kind of what we do, like when we are at events. And let me just tell you, they've got so many fighters that they don't know what to do with that are just now next level guys, top tier, 2-time, 1 and 2-time national champs in wrestling, multiple time Taekwondo champions, whatever it is. They've got people that are willing to fight, that are looking for fights, that have been working in their MMA craft. They can't get them fights.
Right.
Because they're too good for the smaller organizations. LFA and King of the Cage, and I don't even know if Gladiator is still around, but like those, they're too good for those organizations, and no one wants to fight them, or they pull out last minute so they can never get fights. But then they're not quite good enough or don't have enough experience yet to get into the Bellators and the UFCs and PFLs and one. So they're struggling. So if you can get one to come over to the States and have more fights and give more opportunities to these top level fighters or some of these up and coming fighters, I think you're gonna see a lot of managers happy. You're gonna see a lot of untapped talent. And like you and I have been saying for how many years now, John, there is so many good fighters that are not in any of these top promotions. None
Absolutely.
of them, right? They're not in the UFC, they're not in Bellator, they're not in Ryzen. Shit. One of the best organizations that you never get to see here is ACB. Or is it ACA now?
ACA now.
ACA now. Okay, look at all the freaking studs that come out of there at ACA.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Killers.
They've got a guy over there right now, Yusuf Razov or whatever his name is. That fucking guy is an animal.
Yeah,
what an
he is.
animal. We haven't seen him here in the States. People have no idea who he is. None.
Absolutely.
And so
Crazy.
I think it's going to be exciting to see one come over here.
But all the people in your comments, they know everything about everything.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
You know, my wife told me, I guess because, you know, Miss McCarthy, she looked at, she goes, "What did you say about Dana White?" I go, "What?" She goes, "Someone said that you need to stop, tearing into Dana White. It's a bad look or something." And I went, "I didn't say anything bad about Dana at all. In fact, I gave Dana a compliment."
Give him a rub.
That's like, I'm like, that's why I don't read the comments, right? I go, as far as I can recall, I said, you know, I talked about how he was happy that Leon Edwards won, and he got it, you know, because he gets it. He knows now. When he first started that whole thing, he was trying to see, who, I need to know who's going to win. And it's like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And he knows that. And he's got this company set up that entire way. And so he's a winner either way. And way to go, man. That's the way to do it. I was like, no, I didn't say anything bad about Dana, but
yeah, let's not be mistaken. Every promoter kind of hopes that the guy who is better looking, more outspoken, likes to stir up controversy on social media, all of those things, they're hoping for those points for any of their fighters to come on and be that person. Male or female. Did
you see? I don't know who it was. I want to say it. I could pull it up and find it. But they put out just like a little clippet of the Leon Edwards corner with his. And
I did. I
that?
I reposted it from your site.
I reposted it. I said, dude, love this edit. It was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
was
round by round. It was round by round.
It's got the original Rocky music going and stuff. And I was like, come on, you can't ask for a better story than that. The UFC needs to buy that thing and just use it.
John, the best part was it wasn't anything until the fourth and fifth round when he was going in the fifth round where he said, "Stop feeling fucking sorry for yourself."
Yeah.
I didn't hear him say that beforehand. It wasn't using it in that clip up until that fourth and fifth round. That break in between there.
Yep.
And we saw a different Leon Edwards come out. We saw a different Rocky come out there in that fifth round. It wasn't the most impressive. But here, let's go back. I want to go back into that fight just a tiny bit before we get into one.
Let's go.
Which we kind of already started. I want to go back into that fight a little bit. People were saying that Herb Dean fucked that fight up because he stood him up.
Oh,
but John,
broke him off the fence.
That was the right thing to do.
Absolutely it was.
Thank you. This show's brought to you by mybookie.ag. You guys, last weekend was explosive. All the fights were amazing, from boxing to MMA, across the board, bare knuckle boxing as well. Plenty of things to bet on last weekend. Well, guess what this weekend? Not much. But don't let that distract you from going to mybookie.ag, using our promo code weighing in, and trying to pick up a little extra spending cash with your first initial deposit using our promo code weighing in. Okay, and use that little QR code right there, which will take you right to our promo code weighing in. Type in that promo code weighing in at mybookie.ag. Hopefully you guys can make a little extra money. I don't know, maybe betting on some preseason games, maybe betting on some baseball. Who knows? Whatever is up there and available at mybookie.ag, use our promo code and enjoy.
You look and you go, look, I understand and I say it all the time, look, 50% of the people will say wanted Leon Edwards to win. 50% want to win Kamaru Usman to win. And, or, obviously it could be one side more than the other, but you can't sit there and look at a referee who's responsible for what action is taking place and is what the fighter is trying to do, trying to finish the fight. And at that point, you'll let that guy do that more in the first, even second round. Because hey, the damage to the leg may take effect and things like that. When you're putting someone up against the cage, it's the fifth round of a world title fight, and all you're doing is holding on and throwing an occasional knee to the thigh. You're asking the referee to say, "All right, separate." And that's what Herb's going to do. He's got to a much shorter window that he's going to allow that kind of action to take place in the fifth round than he will in the first round. Absolutely, because it's a matter of now, is that technique going to finish the fight? Definitely not. Definitely not going to finish the fight. So what you're trying to do is let time go by. You're just wasting the clock. Okay, I'll let you waste a little bit, but I'm not going to let you waste near as what I would have done earlier on to see if you could land heavy, knees to the thigh that are going to make him not be able to do the things that he needed to do. But
no, but I don't think that was the stand up though. I'm thinking they're referencing the stand up.
Oh no!
Grab the fence.
Well, there was two.
Okay,
there was the one that when Leon Edwards grabbed the fence to get pull himself to a position, and then Herb stopped him, put them back in that position, and restarted it. That was the absolute right thing for him to do also.
Got it.
He didn't take a point because there's no reason to take the point. Nothing was gained if I put them back where that position was that you were at, and don't allow that cage grab to have any effect. I'm taking it away from you, and I'm putting you back where you were so that you've gained nothing. And that's what he did. And that's trying to make it so he has no effect in the fight. A lot of people are going to complain and say, "Oh, you should have taken a point." No, you don't want to take points from people in championship fights. Yeah. There's too much at stake, and it has to be something egregious for them to do. That's not the incident. Herb did a good job in that fight. When he broke him apart that people are complaining about, which led to the knockout because it gave, them to be in that separated position. Okay. But Herb did the right thing. The repositioning of the fight when he grabbed the cage, Herb did the right thing. You can't ask a guy to do anything better than what he did with that fight. He did a good job with it. There's going to be people that are always going to complain. He did not personally have an effect on it as far as the grabbing of it. He didn't take points, so it's not like he's taking points from Leon Edwards or from Kamaru Usman for something. He's trying to make it to where they are the ones deciding the fight. And when it comes to that separation, that was the right thing to do. You got to separate him at that point. He's not doing anything.
Yeah, I was watching a Henry Cejudo video, and I saw the faces of everyone on the front row. You can see when it all happened. And Henry was going through the play-by-play of, oh, we've got it. The money's in the bag. You know, it's like going into the 5th round. Look, Henry should know better than anybody. It doesn't matter until the actual last bell goes off. And this is not a dig at Henry at all. I mean, it was showing, no, this is not a dig at all. Like, this is the sport, man. Even Kamaru Usman was like, man, more people are upset that I lost than I am. He's like, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the game. He's like, I felt like I was done.
Kamaru Usman has handled it like the champ that he is, like the man that he is. He's handled it as a classy, champion who, I made a mistake.
That's the way you should handle it.
This is the game. It's crazy, of course. Yeah. Everyone
going, oh, this guy for sure is going to win. No, there is no for sures in this sport. There's no for sure in any sport. There's never a for sure. Like, it's not over until it's over. That saying is stuck around for so long because it's true. That's what those type of sayings, it's not over till it's over, they stick around because they're true. When that bell finally rings at the very end, that's when the shit's over. And so this was one of those fights that it's gonna be etched in people's memories for a while.
Yeah.
Because like John, let's be honest, I was getting ready to put my shoes on and I looked up right when the kick was thrown and bam, and I was like, holy sh! I mean, my shoes were down by my feet. I'm sitting on the chair. I was getting ready to leave my buddy's house, and I'm like, I look up, like, it's over. And I'm like, oh, how much time's left? I was like on my way out, and then bam, I was like, oh shit! Damn. So these are the type of fights that will stick in people's memories for a long time. Yeah. And they're gonna run it back. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but I mean, I'm still kind of buzzing a little bit because, the Rockhold fight had a lot of buzz. There's been a lot of great things said about Luke after all of that and all the things that he's deserved over his career. I'm happy for him, man. People are like, oh, he's still got plenty left in the tank. He can keep going. And I'm like, let the guy ride off into the sunset, man. He had a great performance. I know it wasn't his best, but let's take into consideration. Let's be honest. He comes back after 3 years. He fights a guy who's ranked in the top 5 because he wanted to try to see if he can get to the title right away. That's fucking balls right there off the bat going, look, I know where I should be. This is where I should be. I want this guy. He's dangerous. All of these things. Paulo Costa came in the best shape he's been in since probably the Yoel Romero fight, when they fought. He came in phenomenal shape. Let's be honest, John. The altitude had an effect on every fighter that night.
Yeah.
On every fighter. They didn't fight the fastest pace, and the ones that did slowed down so much that it just wasn't them after a while. They were getting tired. I had literally had people that I was reading talking shit about Rockhold's grappling. I'm like, you guys, he made mistakes because he was so fatigued.
He's exhausted.
He's a phenomenal grappler. He's probably the best in that division. No. Wow.
No.
Adolfo Vieira.
Yes.
Who shouldn't be in that division, by the way.
No, he should be in 205.
Shouldn't be. Should be in 205. But there's fighters that he is a phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy. He just didn't look that way because he was so tired. I mean, he'd lost positioning so many times. I'm like, man, this never happens to him. And I'm like, but this is the game. This is the nature of the beast. When you get sweaty, you get tired, you get exhausted. Both were tired and exhausted. That's what made that fight good. Remember how we talked about Glover and Yuri?
Yeah,
that fight was not. It was not
all kinds of
mistakes left and right. They both admitted tons of mistakes,
and it was a great fight.
It was a fantastic fight. It was a fantastic fight, and that's exactly how I feel about this right now with Luke. Luke made a ton of mistakes, but he also did a ton of great things after
Paulo
3 years off.
Paulo
made a bunch of mistakes. He did some phenomenal things. It was a great fight. A lot of these fighters fought their asses off, and it upsets me a little bit that people don't give them the credit, not just for being dogs and being fighters, but for they've never had to fight or never had to struggle in that altitude. It's tough, man. It is so tough. And I use the Cain Velasquez-Verdum fight all the time as an example. You look at someone who has never, and I mean never,
used
tired.
cardio as a weapon against everybody.
Cain Velasquez never got tired. He got tired.
Yeah.
I looked at that fight. People that were known for their cardio in that show that night.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie Alvarez.
Yes.
Gilbert Melendez, they fought that night.
Yep.
Both of them known for their cardio. Both of them.
Died.
Both of them fatigued. One of the sloppiest fights we've seen out of both of those guys.
I said Tisha Torres, Angela Hill, both known for their cardio. Died.
Died. It just wasn't those times. I think UFC is kind of like, we're a little hesitant to go to places like that.
Well, they are. Look, let's be honest. How many times have they been to Mexico City? You know, they had a contract and they fulfilled. No, I want to say 3 or 4 now.
3 or 4 now.
But yeah, because they
had to have been at least twice because Verdum fought there twice.
That's right. And but they had a contract there, but they're not like running to go back because it does affect the fights. It's tough.
Yeah,
because you have to have guys that are locals there to be used to it, that can perform at the norm, and you have all locals in a UFC card there, so it's not easy. You know, Salt Lake City. How many times have you seen the UFC at Salt Lake City? There's a reason.
Yeah,
you know.
And the thing is,
Salt Lake City is 6,100 feet up, I think.
The ones that are known for their cardio are the ones that seem to struggle the most in that because they're used to fighting at a pace that people can't keep up with.
Yeah.
And so when they go, it's like, oh shit, what's going on with my body? I can't, nothing moves. And I talked with Cain after that fight, and Cain goes, I couldn't move, man. My arms. He's like, it was so weird. He came back after the first round, and Bob Cook and Javier just looked at him like, they just knew. They're like, you're done. Like, you're so tired. They've never seen. They've never seen you like that.
That's it.
That was the one thing. Look, I used to watch Cain Velasquez. He'd go through Paul Bonatello, Mike Kyle. There was like 4 or 5 other guys in terms of sparring partners. He would DC. So he would go through all of them, sparring hard, 4 or 5 rounds, 6 rounds. Sometimes he'd do a 6th round. He would go through all of them. They'd all be exhausted. He pushed the pace better than like that. The media, the reason why he became such a hype train is because the media came in to watch. They're like, who the hell is that guy? Who is that guy beating up Mike Kyle? Who's that guy beating up Paul Bonatello? Who is that guy with no fights or with 1 fight? Like, who is that guy? Just destroying them. And just was just flinging people around, like out hustling them, out striking them. You're like, what is going on? Those guys use their cardio as a weapon. And in this situation, Luke Rockhold has been known for his conditioning, his cardio. I mean, you look at his fights with Jacare, you look at his fight with Tim Kennedy, you look at his fights in the past where he uses his cardio as a weapon. You know, he gets tired, sure, but he recovers fast and he fights like a fucking madman. That spinning 360 thing that he did.
Tornado kick?
Yeah. I mean,
beautiful.
That's the thing. It's beautiful, but not something to be doing when you're dog dead tired.
No,
that lets you know that he's a crowd pleaser, John.
Yeah. Oh.
He's a fighter. He's a fighter. He's a crowd pleaser. Yeah, he's always been that. I just want to give my boy some love, man. I want to give him some love. So I want to just say congratulations on a great career and enjoy your retirement, man. You're in the old man lane now, buddy. Yeah. You're in the old man lane.
Fat and happy.
Yep. Enjoy that shit. All right. Well, hey, let's jump into one. We went on and ragged on a little bit about that, and let's get into one.
A little rant.
You got Oak versus Lee.
This is a rematch because Lee was the champion. Mm-hmm. He fought Mr. Rayun Oak and lost that title. It was a decision. There was a lot of good action in that fight, though. Look, Christian Lee, my biggest problem with this fight, they're 2 different weight classes. Christian Lee is not a big guy, and Oak is a big dude. Oak made Eddie Alvarez look small.
Yeah.
You know, he looks like he's a 170 pounder fighting a 155 pounder, and that's what he looked like when he fought Lee. Lee's got, fantastic skills. His stand-up has really come along. You know, he was always known as a good grappler, good jiu-jitsu, very slick submissions, transitions really well. But his stand-up was, it was fundamental, but nothing that was going to get him through somebody that was really good on the feet. He's actually got, his stand-up has come a long ways. He is technically very good now. He's fast. He's got a good setup off of his jab. His kicks are good. The problem is no one can get to the point where Oak, we talk about a guy that uses cardio, he presses the action. Mm-hmm. He continues to come forward. He's strong. He's physically gifted in that he's durable. He takes big shots and just keeps on, marching you down. If you take him down, he gets up every time. He's very difficult to take down. And so if Christian wants to get to the fight to the ground, where I do think that he does have an advantage on the ground as far as who has the better ground game, Oak is very difficult to get there and very difficult to keep there, and you burn a lot of energy. So I'm sure that he's got a good game plan going into this. Like I said, it's a instant rematch as far as I believe that they were each other's opponents. I don't think that either one has had a fight since that title fight that they had. So, but
Dave,
this
pull
is
that
good.
Up for us.
What's
Who's
that?
Christian Lee's last fight?
Yeah.
Would think it was Oak.
I think I don't think
think
he's had another fight since then.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, look, I'm a Christian Lee nut rider, John. I gotta be honest, man.
Oh, dude, he's good. Kid. He's 24 years old.
He's good looking. He speaks well. He's working on his stand-ups. He's always trying to improve.
He's
his
almost
craft.
as good as his sister too.
What a jerk!
A jerk. I love his sister. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, she's awesome. He's got a younger sister who's also with one.
Oh, 16.
Yeah,
maybe
16 or 17 now. Yeah, 17 I think now. Yeah, but she's phenomenal as well. I think she's 1-0 or 2-0. I think in one now. I think she's had a couple. She's phenomenal as well. A lot of potential in the family. They grind on each other. I think they live in Hawaii.
Yep.
Is where they're at. So look, they're phenomenal grapplers. They're getting better on the feet. Christian is one of those kids. I like the fact that he's trying to always get better. He's not just the guy that, and the same with his sister, not just someone that's trying to stay a good grappler. No. I do agree with you in this, is that Oak is someone that he will be hard to take down for sure. There's no doubt about that. He cannot afford to, Christian Lee cannot afford to be the guy on bottom, though.
I agree.
Oak will make him pay. Oak is strong enough to defend the submissions. He's too crafty on the top to defend. He's too crafty on the top to be submitted. I think there is a chance, maybe some sneaky stuff there in the beginning when Christian Lee's still fresh, dry. When he's dry. But then when the fight goes, as the fight carries on and becomes sweaty, Oak on top
too strong.
Will do some work. He will do some work. He'll back out, I think, and put some more pressure in, back out, come back in. Christian Lee's got to catch him in transition. Shooting on the double leg, drive up to the body lock, maybe shuck him by, try to get to the back, get to the hooks right away, get to the neck, something along those lines. He's got to be creative. Otherwise, he's got to be on top, which means he's got to get a takedown to make sure that he's on top position, to make Oak carry his weight, make him turn, try to explode out of something, and give Christian Lee a neck, an arm, something along those lines. Yeah. Give the back to slow him down.
Expose the neck, extend an arm, something in there, yeah.
He's got to make the bigger body frame guy in Oak slow down. How does he do that? By getting the back, by putting him in mount, by half guard control, something along those lines of controlling that position. 3/4 mount would be the best position, I think, if you're going to do that. So Christian Lee's got his hands full, but this is going to be one of those fights that Christian Lee needs to implement a very strict game plan. He cannot deviate from it, because if he does, he's going to end up in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So, but I think this is going to be a good fight.
It's a great rematch. I think, I like the fact that one put it right back together, because look, they know what they have in Christian Lee. They're not stupid. Yeah. And they have a young star, and he's young. That's the real thing. Is at 24, the kid is fighting above his age. He's fighting people that are good, but he fought Timothy. Nashtikan, great fight.
Timothy's good, man.
Yeah, and tough as hell.
Yes.
And, Christian Lee knocked him out.
Yeah. Yeah, Christian got dropped, I believe, in the first couple seconds of that fight. He got dropped. Yeah. And then he fought back, got some good positions, and then ended up finishing him. But Timothy Nasukin is one of those guys that, and because when I was working for one, he had, I believe he was 9-1, his one loss. None of his fights had gone outside the first round. None of them, I think, had gone past a minute and a half. They all were knockouts. They were all knockouts. I think he had one submission in there. I think there was one submission in there. But then his one loss, though, too, was in a minute. So it wasn't like he deviated. He either got knocked out. I think he got knocked out in the first fight, and then he knocked everyone else out within a minute and a half. Yeah. So he was a fun fighter for me to call and talk about, and I really liked him a long way back. In terms of the rest of the card, guys, we're going to flash over on that. Is there anybody on here you want to talk about?
Well, Ton Lee is, used to be on the Ultimate Fighter for a little bit there. He's really turned into a solid fighter. Always had really good stand-up, very fast, very talented, a lot of slick movement. But his ground game has really come along, and he's using it now. He's going against Kai Tang, who is very good in the stand-up. So you might actually see Lee actually trying to go to the ground and use some of those new submission skills that he has been working on, because he's really come a long way. So that's a lightweight title fight, it says. But how is that a lightweight title fight when Christian Lee's, are they saying that's a welterweight? That's a welterweight. Jesus. Christian Lee is not a welterweight. I'm sorry.
Maybe he bulked up, John.
Maybe he did.
Bulked up. No,
maybe he did.
He's not a short guy though.
No, he's actually, but he's lean.
Yeah, he is lean.
He's real lean.
He still has that he's still like a kid. He has that kid. He still has that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say baby.
He'll grow into it, no doubt about it.
Yeah, he has like a baby face, baby. He still has that baby body, kind of like he's not quite a. He doesn't seem like quite a man yet, but he is. He's fucking full blown. Like he's a stud, man. He's a stud.
That's true.
But let's talk about one itself as a promotion, John.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think they've got some outstanding fighters that are. Look, they've got some outstanding fighters in all categories, but they're lighter weight fighters from, 155, 155 down. Man, they got some studs. They have some killers in the striking area. I mean, a lot of guys from that area, just fantastic. But no one's, again, guys that you and I have watched, but no one's ever heard of them. And if they heard their name, they go, "Who's that?" And they say, "Oh, he'd get killed by so-and-so." When, look, they got some just monsters in the lower weight classes. In the upper ones, they have specific people they got really good fighters. De Ridder, I think De Ridder is trouble for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, he's their champion both in middleweight and light heavyweight right now. And that dude's for real. He is good on the ground. He's slick. He's got, decent stand up to keep himself in the fight until such time that he decides to try to take it to the ground. He's got good wrestling. And, he's a winner. He hasn't lost. Let's just put it that way.
No, I agree. I agree.
It's when you get into the upper weights, they're like a lot of, I'm just being honest. They're just like a lot of promotions where as fighters get bigger, there's just less of them.
Yep.
They can do other sports and things. So, but they've got some studs.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talent there. Like, I agree with you, especially from the welterweight on down. You said lightweight. I say welterweight only based off because Christian Lee and Oker in the welterweight division, apparently. Yeah. Okay, but that has to do with their...
I guess Eddie Alvarez is in the welterweight division too.
Yeah, that's basically what there is the way that they do their weight cutting. They weigh them what their natural weight is, and they say, okay, you can't weigh more than this. There's a lot that people are going to have to pay attention to when they start hitting Amazon Prime. Now, I'm stoked for them to be on Amazon Prime because that's going to give a lot of their fighters the exposure that they need for the U.S. fans and the UK fans or whoever else to follow them, because that's the hardest thing for all of us. Anytime you try to follow a fighter from Singapore or someone from Japan or from China, you can't because of the time change. Yeah. There's just there's really no way. It's so hard unless they're constantly posting on videos on YouTube or something for you to keep up with.
Yeah, it's weird because you can actually follow a specific fighter, and you can find their fights, but to follow, a roster of fighters on a promotion, can't do it. You just can't. True. It just doesn't happen, man.
It's tough, but look, overall, a lot of fans. You guys got to remember when they do come on Amazon Prime, their rule set is it's not a lot different, but there are some big significant differences. Knees to the head of a grounded opponent. I believe they got rid of the soccer kicks.
Yeah, soccer kicks are no.
They're a no now, I believe. Yeah,
but they used to have them, now they don't.
Yeah, so you can now still knee a grounded opponent. That changes the dynamic of how these fights will go because there's no real resting.
In the same position.
Yeah, a lot of these wrestlers in all the other organizations that use the unified rules, they would have a very hard time in a lot of these positions, especially against the fence.
Yeah.
And so we found that out against when Moraes fought
Demetrius, yeah.
fought Demetrius Johnson, hit him with a nice knee on the way up. And those are rules and positioning that you have to train over and over to get it ingrained into your mind that you can't let yourself hang out there too long. It's available need. Like those are just years and years of training that we got used to. That now all of a sudden when DJ went over there, it's a different feel. Oh shit! I can't put my head there anymore because this can come, and it came. Yep. So there's a lot of excitement to be had with one coming over to Amazon and the build up for them. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what they do. So good for them. Another home for some of these other fighters. That's
the most important thing.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. All right, Dave, what else you got for us? Some news?
All right, we have an abundance of fight announcements.
Abundance?
Yes. Before we hit that, though, let's talk about the welterweight division right now, because Leon obviously won that fight on Saturday. I don't know if a lot of people were expecting that, especially going into
Did he win it? Are you bloody sure?
Bloody sure, mate. And so obviously now you have a bunch of things he said. I think Dana agreed to one of them. Kamaru Usman agreed to the one where potentially they could headline in London at the Wembley Stadium. But then you've also got Nate and Hamzat about the fight, and Leon said he would be glad to take the Nate fight if Nate could somehow get past Hamzat. You got Masvidal with the history there. He did say Masvidal needs a win before he could do that. So you got Colby up there at number 2,
change.
Gilbert up there at number 4. So there's plenty. And then of course if Hamzat beats Nate, he kind of puts himself in a position to be up there. So lots of fights, potential. Let's hear what you guys think about the kind of best scenarios, dream scenarios for that division right now.
All right, I'm gonna start off with reality here first. So the reality is,
John, that's not what the name of this game is.
I don't
Let's
care. This is the reality.
Oh, I love it.
Kamaru Usman deserves a rematch against Leon Edwards. He deserves that based upon what he's done so far as the welterweight champion, the run that he was on. I did see where he said, he was thinking about trying to get another fight in here before the end of the year. I'm like, stop. Do people not manage their fighters? Look, the reason I said that fight should take place somewhere around, March or so of 2023 was to give Kamaru time to recover. Josh, we have too many people that watch someone get knocked out like he got knocked out. And because he was standing up at the end and talking and everything, he's okay. He's not okay. If Rocky had broken Kamaru's leg with a kick and Kamaru crashed down with his leg broken, people would be going, oh my God, it's horrible. That's not as bad as what happened to his brain. And so all I'm saying is, Kamaru, please take some time off. March, April. Perfect time. Don't try to rush it into the Januaries and Februaries. March, April, perfect time. That's when you should be getting a rematch. Does he deserve it? Yes. Has Dana already said, makes perfect sense? Yes. I said the O2, then all of a sudden it was Wembley Stadium. I would love to see that thing at Wembley Stadium. It would be phenomenal. If anyone's ever been to Wembley, which you and I have, it is a freakishly large stadium, very cool. And to think that they would hold a UFC and a title event there, the only question is, now coming back to when do you hold the fight, it happens to rain in England all the time.
A lot.
So you might want to have some covers over the octagon or something. I don't, they've done it with boxing too many times. You got to figure Anthony Joshua fought Klitschko there, 91,000 people or something. I think that the UFC could do the same thing and it would be phenomenal. So I would love to see that. Now let's go on to the other part. Yeah, I think just the change here of the champion opens up so much, so many opportunities for so many different peoples. And Colby Covington is right now going, oh, baby. Yes, because he's back. except he's got a broken jaw or something like that, or his jaw didn't heal or something's going on. So he might not be back. Khamzat, he's got to get past Nate Diaz. I'm sure he is planning on that, but that is not a given. So, Gilbert Burns, he has a loss against Khamzat in his last fight. I wouldn't put somebody going into the championship fight coming off of a loss. So, there's all kinds of things that you could do, but I look at it and I go, there's only one that makes sense. And if Colby Covington is not prepared to fight at this time, then God damn it, you're looking at, the man that baptizes people. George Masvidal did a number and hit Leon in the back. So that it's a story. It's all written. It's there for you. Is it not a story that has to be finished?
Look, I'm gonna start with reality as well, and the reality is this: Kamaru Usman for sure deserves the automatic rematch, and the reason why we say this, you guys, not because he was ahead 3-1, whatever, going into the fifth, but he was winning the fifth round as well. It was close, but he was winning the fifth round. Not only that, he had that run of him basically since entering the UFC hadn't lost.
Yeah.
And so you have that run where he was going to equal Anderson Silva. If anyone deserves a rematch, an automatic rematch, it would be him. Like, I want to make sure that we talk about fighters that have paid their dues. They deserve the credit. He is that guy. He's the guy that came out. I've underestimated him several times in fights. And he's come out and proved me wrong multiple times. I thought for sure in the first fight that Colby Covington was going to beat him. Then I saw what he did. And then I saw this. And then when I was going into the second fight with Colby Covington, I was like, Colby ain't beating him. There's no way. He's gotten better on the feet, all these other things. I thought Masvidal was going to give him more of a run in the second fight because Masvidal had in the first fight, didn't have a lot of notice, kind of a way out. But I knew that if Usman got him into deep waters, he didn't need deep waters. He proved me wrong again. So even though we sit up here as experts, okay, and giving our opinions on these things, the bottom line is we found out this is why we fight the fight, because anyone can win. And this was one of those situations where he dominated the 3.5 rounds, and lost the first round. For sure he lost the first. He dominated round 2, 3, and 4, and was winning round 5.
Well, he didn't dominate round 2. Round 2 was close.
It was close. You're right. You are right. It was close.
Dominated around 3 and 4, no doubt about it.
3 and 4.
Started walking away.
He started dominating the fight as the fight went on. And then this happens. But there's certain times where we've come on here and said, look, I didn't feel like Weili Zhang deserved an automatic title shot or rematch against Rose Namajunas.
Yeah,
I don't think she deserved that. And certain fighters deserve
especially
it.
Coming off of the way that fight went.
Yes.
First
and
round,
that's the thing. People like Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she deserved an automatic rematch from her stint earlier.
Her run
of being
before.
her run before. Yeah. George St. Pierre, even though he didn't get one, he deserved one against Matt Serra. He had to fight Koscheck first. Do you remember that?
No, he didn't fight Koscheck first.
I believe he fought Koscheck first because that was their first. Yeah, that was their first fight.
No.
Yep, it was a 3-round
in between.
fight.
You're saying?
Yes.
Oh yeah, in between. You're right.
After he fought Matt,
he fought him in
Matt
Vegas.
Serra, he fought Koscheck.
I think you're right. Matt Serra didn't fight anybody. I don't think.
No, he didn't. Matt Serra didn't fight anyone.
Yeah, Josh Koscheck. Oh,
yeah.
Look at that. 2 fights. He fought Matt Hughes also.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
I forgot about the Matt Hughes situation. Yeah. But yeah, those fights. I mean, there's certain fighters to me. It had Anderson when Anderson lost. There's an automatic rematch. Those type of things. Like certain fighters that have put their work in, they deserve it.
Yeah.
And Kamaru Usman is that guy. He deserves it. So for us to be talking about, I want to make sure that everyone understands, we live in reality where I don't want to see him fight George Masvidal. And I love Masvidal, man. He's an OG. He's one of my. I look at him as like one of my boys. Like,
but he doesn't deserve that shot.
He doesn't deserve that shot. I'm sorry, man. I got a lot of love for him. All those things. Leon Edwards, he's a friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine. He's trained with us. We see him all the time at the events because his brother fights for Bellator. him being the champion, he needs to make sure that he gives Kamaru Usman that shot. He needs to close that chapter in his career if he wants to move on to being the champ. That's the other thing with fighters, that if you beat someone like him, you need to go ahead and warrant that automatic rematch because you want to close that door.
Yep.
Because if that fighter has to come back around and get you another way, it's just gonna make you look bad. It's gonna make everyone go, I knew you were a fraud. You weren't as good as you were made out to be. You got lucky with that kick. That's all you get.
Yeah.
So he needs to close that chapter. He needs to fight him again, close that chapter. Colby Covington, no. I don't want to see that fight either. Don't get me wrong. I like Colby. I think that if anyone's gonna be next in line, it should be him. I think I would take him probably over Chimaev. Only because of he's paid his dues. He's put in the work. Now he needs to get a win. He hasn't fought since Kamaru Usman, correct?
No.
So he needs to get a win. Oh, you're right. He did beat Masvidal.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So then maybe you see him fight Leon if he beats.
Come on, man.
You stop it, buddy. This is podcast ways of trolling. I like Colby, man. I want to see him fight a lot more often. I want to see him fight. Him and Chimaev would be a great fight. Those two guys. To see who ends up fighting.
Didn't Colby lose his last fight?
No,
Colby beat George.
No, he lost to George. It was in a restaurant.
Oh my god! You had me pulling up the record and everything, man.
There you go. I had to do it for Dave.
Damn. Shut the door on that one.
Boom. Sorry.
No.
But look,
That was cheap.
Colby and Chimaev, I'd like to see the two of them fight to see who ends up fighting Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards. That's the way I would like to see it all go down. Nate Diaz is gone. He's gone. He wants to close this chapter on the UFC. He wants to move on and maybe not even fight at all. Let's be real. And I'm going to talk about the Jake Paul situation later as well. Let's be real. That fight's doesn't have the buzz as much as it did a year ago.
Which one of Jake's fights will?
Exactly. I don't think that fight's going to have the buzz though. I don't think it's going to have that huge buzz. And so I think obviously the fight to remake or the fight to make is the Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards. That fight will happen. I'd like to see the Colby Covington and Chimaev fight happen on the backside if Chimaev does beat Nate and Nate rides off into the sunset, does whatever Nate's going to do. Chimaev and Colby, if they end up fighting. That would be kind of the smart way to have it. Smart ticket would be to have them on the same card. Because if one of them falls off for some reason, you have an automatic backup who is a number one contender. So that'd be a nice job. But look, who am I? I'm just a podcast guy. This is why we have Dana White, the promoter. Let him do his thing. Look, overall though, I'm excited for the rematch. I hope they do it in Wembley. That'd be freaking amazing if they did it there. Think about that, John. Molly McCann, Patty Pimblett.
Oh yeah.
And Leon Edwards. Give me another UK star. Give me someone else.
You just got to hope that Tom Aspinall's knee gets fixed in time.
Did that and then fucking let's bring Michael Bisping back. Screw it. Let's go. Let's go, Bisping. We'll let you slide into the co-main event.
Coming back.
Yeah, we'll let him slide into the co-main event. We'll give you that. We'll give you that love. Got to give Leon and Kamaru their dues. But look, I'm excited for that. That's what's going to happen. I think everyone knows that. That's the fight's going to happen. But overall, I'm excited for that. That division, John. Look at the division. Yeah. Look at that division. Colby Covington, Chimaev, Gilbert Burns, Bilal Muhammad. I mean, there's some fights.
Just had a great fight. So
great performance. Absolutely stunning performance. And then you've got Sean Brady making a little bit of a jump if he ends up getting a win over Bilal. That's a matchup that's coming up.
That's a great matchup.
I'm really stoked for that matchup. A lot of people were talking shit when I said I'd like to see that matchup. Oh, why? So Bilal could wrestle him, and what's his name could not have shitty. Sean could have shitty stand up. I'm like, you guys,
dude, if you watch Sean Brady fight,
this can be a great fight. Sean Brady's a fucking stud on the ground,
and he's a stud fucking on his feet too most of the time. The dude throws. He may not have a great reach, and he may not be huge in size as far as length, but. Dude, he throws and he throws with freaking fire.
This whole division is starting to finally kind of make shape, and who are the top 3 or 4 guys. And Gilbert Burns is still in that mix. Let's not forget about Gilbert, man. Gilbert Burns is still there. I don't know what Stephen Thompson's doing. Haven't seen him fight in a while. Not really sure where he's at. He's number 7
Well, his
right now.
last
He's
fight
just
that he had
sliding
was against Gilbert, where he lost.
Yeah. All right, well, hey, what else you got for us there, Dave?
All right, well, since you're talking about how crazy the welterweight division is, let's talk about the announced fight. Tony Ferguson back to welterweight.
Back to welterweight from his original tough win as the welterweight champion of tough, going against Jingliang Li or Jingliang Li. I can't say it right ever.
You know, when I heard about this, John, I was like, really? But
I think it's a good matchup.
No. I was concerned him going back up to welterweight, but because I'm like, really? But no, I agree with you. Let me come on, don't shake your head. No,
I'm giving you your time. I'm going.
Give me some time.
I'm with you. Look at this.
The reason why I'm going to agree with you and I'm going to agree with what he's going to do is because it's not him making that call. It's Greg Jackson. Yeah. It's that camp. That camp saying, what are you doing? Why are you killing yourself? We've been talking about him going like, hey, man, it's obvious in his face. Yeah. His last like 5-6 fights, whatever, it's obvious he cuts a lot of weight and he's having a hard time as he gets older keeping his weight down. He's a fucking animal. He just trains and trains and trains, you know? Yeah. And so, but it seems like he's depleting himself so much because he just trains like a fucking animal all the time, which is what makes him an animal in the cage. It's just hard when you're getting older, and he's getting older. Put the weight on, build yourself up. I feel like maybe it's a little too soon for him to fight because he's only been with Greg Jackson for a short period of time. I'd like to see him to be there a little bit longer, how Aaron Pico was. I'd like to see a little bit more growth out of him from that camp because I know it's there. I know Tony's still got a little left in the tank. And this is a tough fight. Lee is someone that will bring the action. He's got a little bit of power in his hands. Yeah. Grappling wise, Tony's
very good
dog.
defensive wrestler most of the time.
Yep. And Tony's got good wrestling, doesn't utilize it as much. He's got to keep his chin tucked. He's got to let the hands go. I just want to see what changes they were able to make in such a short period of time. You know,
it is a short period of time.
It is. That's the only thing. I want to see it longer with Greg Jackson.
I agree with you. I would like to have said at least seen about 4 months in camp with him. You know, just going through technique stuff, then doing, you know, a full 8-week camp, 2 months, for that matchup. But
well, John, you know as well as I know, when you're in camp, you're not really learning.
That's training. What I'm saying. That's why I said 4 months, 2 months of just technique and learning and seeing what he does and how they can, incorporate some of the stuff. And then 2 months on that in the camp for that fight. That's what I would have liked to have seen. But, hey, look, this is a world that, it's moving fast, and Tony's getting older. So, I understand why he wants to get in there, but I actually think it's a good matchup for him. It's a very winnable fight for him. Not again, it's not like it's going to be an easy win. Like I said, Lee is tough. Khamzat went in there and is the only guy that I've seen really make him look bad.
Yeah.
And that can happen at any time to anybody. So, but this is I do like seeing Tony going back to welterweight also. I think it's a good move for him.
Especially at this stage in his career, I think so. I agree. Next.
Speed will actually help. He'll be faster.
That's true.
All right. We have one weight class up.
This is a great one, I think.
Another fight. We have Cannonier, who just came off the title fight against Sean Strickland.
Title fight loss, and Sean having a knockout loss to Alex. I think this is something that many times UFC matchmaking was built off of. All right, we got two guys, both coming off of big fights, both having losses. We want to get one of them a win to get them back on track. Well, let's put them together, and this is what you got: number 2 against number 7. I think it's a great matchup. I love Cannonier. I love Sean Strickland. So, I have no skin in the game. Whoever wins, I'm happy for. But they do have different approaches to fighting. And if there's one thing I know that Cannonier, and he showed it in his fight, against Adesanya, is he does not fight well going backwards. He's got to come forward. And Sean Strickland's going to be putting him on his back foot.
I want to know if Sean Strickland, if this fight's going to change him at all. His loss and how he lost, what happened. Is his training going to be different? Is his approach in the cage going to be different? Is he going to try to be more patient? Because like you said, the way to beat Cannonier, it seemed like, was to put him on his back foot.
Yeah.
Make him feel uncomfortable. Make him feel like, oh, if I can't get the takedown, or I got to throw big punches, make myself a little bit slow, or make myself a little bit tired. Those are the type of things that I think Sean Strickland is going to have to use against him if he wants to get the win. But will he change? Because John, and you've seen, I'm sure, hundreds of fighters after a loss like that. They're not the same guy.
Nope.
They don't fight. They change. They try to make a tweak. What can I do to not do that again? That's the game. You can't make too many tweaks. You got clipped. You got caught. Maybe you were a little bit too patient with Pereira, and that's what caught. You should have tried to walk him down more, put him on his back foot, maybe threaten to take down a little bit. We can get into that. I can go off on that altogether. But in this fight, like you said, he's going to have to move him backwards. He's going to have to put pressure on him. He's going to have to let the hands go. He's going to have to, I think, also kind of be talking to him like he does sometimes.
Oh, he talks throughout the fight. So
yeah, make him feel uncomfortable. Make him want to attack you more aggressively, to use more energy. All of those things. Cannonier, though, got power in his hands. He's got that bully in him as well when he's going forward. So if he just implements that game plan on not letting Sean Strickland get comfortable on his feet, I think Cannonier's got a good chance of winning that fight.
He's got a really good. All of it is determined upon, does Jared allow him to just keep marching him back, or does he circle out, reestablish, pop, pop, pop? You want to come into me here, port, and I circle out, and reestablish, and pop, 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 and just make it to where he's the guy always turning those corners back towards you. You can make it to where it's all effective movement for you. But if you sit there and you're always moving back, and not establishing, this is my time that I'm going to get off, you never do get off. And that's what ends up happening many times. And that's what Strickland will take advantage of. So it's a great matchup.
Got it. Next
fight, Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles at lightweight.
Can you look up Claudio Puelles' last fight? I know I saw it. I just can't remember who he fought. He had a great performance. I believe he won by submission. He's a tough fighter. I just can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember who he fought and how he.
Guida.
Oh, he fought. That's right. He fought Clay Guida and won by
submission.
Armbar. Knee bar. Yeah. No, he's tough, man. He's good. He's got a good look to him. He's very explosive on the ground, quick. Got a good look to him. Very good on the ground. Very aggressive on the feet as well. He's a dog, man. He's. This is not the guy that I would have liked to have seen him fight, though. John, who did we say? We said Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson.
Yep,
that's who we said. That would have been a great fight.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This is a tough fight, though, for Dan Hooker.
This is a real tough fight. Because if this kid gets into the ground, he's got some issues there. Not that Dan's, not crafty on the ground. So this kid's really good on the ground, slick. Yeah. So he goes and this is the other part is we're not seeing the really good submission fighters of today be like they were in the past. Guys today that we call good submission fighters, they go after everything.
Yeah.
They attack the legs, they attack the arms, they attack the shoulders, they attack the necks. If you put something out there, they're going to entwine that and start putting a crank on it. And so it's a different world, and Dan is very good at when he's, in a position someone's on him, he's good at holding things off, but he's not dangerous off his back.
No.
And so he's got to keep this on the feet, start to pick him apart, use that range and that length, and he's got the ability to do it. But I don't know. Puelles, he's coming up.
He's going to have to stop a takedown or two.
Yeah.
He's got to make sure that he doesn't give his back, even from the standing position. He's got to make sure he doesn't give his back.
Yeah.
All right, next.
All right, let's get into the next fight here. Michael Johnson versus Marc Diakiese.
Hey, you almost had it. That's good. Nice job there, Dave.
Fight. This is a great fight, John.
This is. And Michael's coming off of that loss that I didn't think he had a loss in. I thought he fought a great fight. I thought he won the fight. Diakiese is tough, fast, very explosive. But damn, Michael Johnson does not look any slower today. You know, he's still fast. He's got fast hands. You know, he does start to slow down at certain times in the fight. But this is a matchup where I'd have to say, you know, look at the experience and everything. The wrestling goes to Michael Johnson. He doesn't use his wrestling anymore.
Yeah, but Diakiese, he's won his last fight by just grinding somebody out.
Yeah, he's been working on his ground game. That's exactly what I was going to go towards.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson doesn't use his wrestling anymore, but he's going to have to, from what we've been seeing with Marc, because he's trying to become a more well-rounded fighter. He's a guy that came into it more of a kickboxer, same as like Leon Edwards came into the UFC, more just a straight, you know, stand-up guy. You can't be that stand-up guy and continue to beat people because you're going to be put on the ground by guys that you can't get away from. They're like Velcro on you. Now, Michael Johnson, he likes to be the striker. He likes to be the guy that's out there throwing hands, and that's been a very successful way for him to make a career. But when he's looking at this fight, that occasional takedown might be a good thing.
Yeah, I think, see, for me, I disagree.
Wow, go ahead.
I think that Michael Johnson, I think his jab and his lateral movement left and right will be a huge issue for Marc. Marc's going to have a hard time getting him to stand right in front, and like everyone's had a hard time. We've seen top-level stand-up guys in front of Michael Johnson. Sure, maybe they've been able to clip him, you know, but they have power. Michael Johnson sticks and moves faster than they can react. Now, Marc is very fast as well. He's good on the transitions. But him getting in deep enough on Michael Johnson to get the takedown is going to be tough for him to do. And on the feet, sure, he's got the tools. But I think with Michael Johnson's speed, with his jab, people just, it blinds them. They don't know what to do. As long as I think Michael Johnson keeps his hands up as he's circling out, I can see him just picking them off. Touching him, getting in, getting out. And I agree with you in terms of mixing up a takedown or two. Michael Johnson should threaten that to keep Marc's hands loyal and basically keep it on track so he doesn't have to worry about being taken down himself.
Yep.
Because if Michael Johnson gets a takedown or two, it's going to make Marc a little bit more hesitant, throw kicks. It's going to make him a little more hesitant to let the hands fly in combinations. Look, it's one thing to throw one. It's one thing to throw 1 and 2 combinations. You start adding the third and the 4, you're giving me an opportunity now to be taken down. So then Michael Johnson can go ahead and get the takedowns, or he can stick them with the jabs, throw the 3 and the 4 combinations, because I think Michael Johnson's the faster fighter. And he's longer for sure.
I don't know if he's the faster fighter in this. I'm just being honest. I think Diakiese is faster. Did not Marc Diakiese fight Fiziev?
I'm not sure. Can you look it up there?
I believe he did. And I think he went to a decision with him because I believe he lost the first 2 rounds pretty handily, but he actually came back in the 3rd round and fought pretty damn well.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago. Interesting. Lost to a guillotine choke.
Not Fiziev.
No. Not against Fiziev. That was a decision. Alves lost to a guillotine.
Oh, Alves. Sorry. I was looking at. Okay.
Yeah, same first name.
Yeah, same first name. I was looking at that.
You know, he's fought fast people.
No, I
get
get
it. Fast.
I get it.
Yeah, so
I get it. I think Michael Johnson's gonna get it done.
Okay, I hope.
I think he's gonna get it done. He's gonna get it done. Let the young buck.
Yeah, he obviously doesn't. You know, looking at that, he's not impressed with the look that Diakiese's giving with the tongue, man.
He's not. I'm not impressed by your performance.
That's it.
All
right, that's a good fight, though.
That's a great fight.
Yeah.
What card is that on? December 3rd.
December
Gosh,
3rd.
why so? John, let me ask you a question. They just announced the Tony Ferguson fight. Why the fuck is this thing December 3rd and that fight's September 6th or something? 10th
That's
or
the
whatever.
same. Well, Ferguson's the same night as Diaz Chimaev. You got to wonder if they're just trying to have a backup potential, like a big time backup potential in case something happens with Diaz or
possible.
No, but who? Yeah, but if Chimaev pulls out, he's already beat Lee. I mean, not if what's it called? If Nate pulls out,
what did you just talk about?
Chimaev's already beat Lee, so he had to fight Tony Ferguson. Tony should not take that fight.
But that's your opinion.
But he would.
Yeah, he probably would.
But he would.
Not even probably. He would. Jeez. I'm just like, fuck. You can't change someone from being a fighter and who they are.
No.
And that's exactly who Tony Ferguson is.
That's
He's a
it.
fucking fighter. That's who he is. All right, next.
Next fight. So this one comes from Brett Okamoto from ESPN. So
I'll talk about this one.
Verbally agreed. So you know you gotta trust that it's a reliable fight at this point. But
wow, you're saying that Brett Okamoto is reliable?
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think
so.
This one is December
so.
December 10th, slated for December 10th.
Yep.
John doesn't like it. I'm not against it. I'm not opposed to it. You know, look, I love Robbie Lawler. So no matter what happens, Robbie Lawler is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't give a fuck what he does for the rest of his career. Yeah. All I care is I want to see him go out, you know, right off into the sunset, you know, with a smile on his face. Whatever he wants to do, I support 100%. We just spent the whole weekend with him I spent more of my time with him because we were all hanging out. But he is and will always be one of my all-time favorite fighters, man. He is a fucking, not just a great fighter and what he's done throughout his whole career, but you have to remember the ups and downs that he went through, John.
Oh, I remember all of them.
He was the first poster boy for the UFC. Outside of like Tito, they had Frank Shamrock, they had, you know, Hoist, then I think it went Frank, then it went Tito, and then, you know, then they had Chuck, and then, you know, but then Robbie was that guy they were really grooming to be their poster boy, and he didn't want it. He's just like, I just want to fight. Leave me alone. I don't want to do interviews. I don't want to be on this. I don't want to. But that's who he is, man. That's who he is. And you get to know him, you understand. He went from there. He went to Pride. Then he went Elite XC. He was in Rumble on the Rock, I think, for a couple fights.
Dude, he fought Icon.
He fought everywhere. He was that guy, and he just. But to think of where he's been and where he is continuing, he just keeps trugging away and going on, and he's a great person, man. Not only is he a great fighter, but he's a great person. I can't say anything bad about him, man. He's one of my all-time favorites, and whatever he wants to do, I support 100%. He wanted this fight. He's going to take this fight. Have at it, man. Stylistically, it's a tough fight for him, but I also think it's very winnable for him, though, too.
Well, look, if he lands with, you know, he's got the bigger power by far than Ponzinibbio, but Ponzinibbio throws a lot of shots. And when someone is throwing a lot of shots, Robbie does a lot of tuck and roll, and he moves his head in and out. But when he's doing it, he doesn't throw.
Yeah.
And so that's my big thing is when you take a look at, you know, Ponzinibbio, a guy that's got a high volume attack and continues to come after you and stuff. Age is a big difference here. And, you know, it's Robbie generally, usually, you know, he'll come out and he'll fire hard. And then sometimes he'll take a round off because, you know, just going to get my win in this next round. And he'll take it, and then he'll come after you, and he'll like 29-28. He's not going to have that ability here, man. This is one of those ones he's going to have to be fighting his ass off the whole time. Now, he did that when he fought, you know, his second match with Nick Diaz was, man, he was on fire. He trained for that fight. You could see it. He was ready. He was in shape. He was going. And so I just look at this, and his fight with Brian Barberena was a great fight. I thought he fought really well, but you know, taking shots. Yeah. Anybody, as we have said, anybody can be hurt. You know, and it just takes the right shots, you know, in the right place or the right volume of them. And so, with a volume guy like Ponzinibbio, I just look at it and go, I wish they would have given him a different fight. But like you said, I've known Robbie since he was 18, 19 now. I
think I met him when he was 19. Yeah,
and so I love the guy. He is a legend in the sport. The best part about Robbie is he also looks and, you know, he tries to help younger fighters. He gives them advice. He tells them what's real and what's not. You know, and he's someone that they should all look up to because he's been there and done it.
He handles himself like a true gentleman. Like everywhere we go, everywhere you go around with him, He's a great guy. Next.
All right. So the next one I want to get. So Josh, this was we talked about this earlier off air, but I wanted to get your thoughts on Ariel Helwani's comments towards Jake Paul. So Jake Paul had come out and kind of made some not so nice comments towards Luke Rockhold's performance on Saturday night, and then Ariel Helwani comes out, trashes Jake Paul for it. Tells him that it's unacceptable to say that. That fight was crap, basically, because Luke came out and poured his heart out in that fight.
Fight was crap.
So the clip from Ariel's 3 minutes long, so I'll play it for you, and then I'll let you guys get your reaction, okay? Let me just get the volume up here, so I'll just be quick.
Jake better start looking at some of his fights if he wants to see some crap fights, too.
And I wasn't going to get into this now, but let me just say, shame on Jake Paul. Shame on you, Jake Paul. Shame on you for saying what you said about those guys on Saturday night. And not because, I get it. Trust me, I get it. They're 85ers, picking a fight. One guy's at the end of his UFC contract. The other guy's at the end of his... There's potential fights there. I get that this is somewhat of a work. But shame on you. And I don't even care that you were coming after me. The lone guy in MMA media, it feels at times, who has had your back, who has supported what you've tried to do, who has given you props, right? Forget about all of that. These are some of the tweets, some of the exchanges. Another 10-7 for Helwani. We don't need to pat ourselves. You saw it. You know it. Barry H., what's up? Shame on you for picking on the guy who was saying the stuff that you were saying over the past, year and a half. The exact same stuff that you were saying. Only difference is he meant it. He felt it. He experienced it. You're on the outside looking in. None of this pertains to you, but you have said it, and you have done a good job of shining a light on it, as I've said on this show. But to do this gimmick, to do this shtick about the one guy who had the freaking balls to do it in the fucking media room, in front of the media, in front of the people, in the ENG shoot room, to be on this show and talk to this, to say the things that he said. Shame on you for being that guy in that moment, taking that away from Luke Rockhold, because everything that you have said for the past year and a half, in my opinion, discredited after what you did on Saturday. Everything that you said, because Luke Rockhold, I don't care what he has said about you, and again, some of that is gimmick, gamesmanship, all that. Luke Rockhold is saying the exact same stuff that you were quote unquote fighting for. And I've had to battle with my own friends, my own colleagues, my own people here, back and forth. I've had to battle with them over your intentions, your motives. And I've had your back. I have had your back. I have said, no, it's sincere. I have said, no, it's coming from a good place. And then this dude is fighting for these same things while under the thumb of the company, and you take an opportunity to shit on. And by the way, bad take, horrible take. It was nothing short of amazing. He is a legend. He is a former champion in 2 organizations. He is a pioneer. He is a Hall of Famer. Forget about all that. Shame on you for doing that in that moment. Wait a bit. Wait a week. Wait 2 weeks. Wait a day. Wait 2 days. Wait till Monday. In that moment, showing that heart, bleeding, breathing, it has nothing to do with you. What would they say about me? What are you talking about? This dude's been in freaking wars. This guy almost had his leg amputated. This guy had a surgery on his face. They said he might not fight again. What are you talking about? Nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. And if you want to endear yourself to the fighting community, the MMA community, that for whatever reason you have taken interest in, and especially get the fighters on your back to champion this cause for fighter pay, it's the Luke Rockholds that you need on your side. So that was disappointing.
Damn, did we just give a plug to Ariel's MMA Hour?
Oh, got to give Ariel a rub, brother. You got to give him a rub every once in a while. Let him know we still like him.
Good rub.
No matter the beef we've had before in the past. Look, overall,
let me say one thing before, because I want you to
do.
talk about Luke and what Luke's done.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put something out here because I don't know if everyone understands this, but I got to give Ariel big time ups in this situation. As far as, look, he has worked the Showtime boxing matches of Jake Paul and Logan based upon his friendship with Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and they're the ones that brought him into that. So him going after him here, hey, You know what? You're being a stand-up guy because you're just being honest. I like that, Ariel. Good job, man. Go ahead. I'm going to let you talk about Luke Rockhold and why Jake Paul's an idiot, what he said.
No, my take on this is I have to agree with you. Hey, I got to give Ariel a rub. I got to let him know, hey, I appreciate what you said, the kind words, the good things about my boy Luke. He is a legend. Yeah, he is a champion in 2 organizations. He has achieved a lot. This fight that just happened, it was after a long layoff, coming back, fighting at altitude, fighting somebody in the top 5. All of these things. It led to a perfect storm. It was a great fight in terms of, yeah, they both made a ton of mistakes, but that's what makes great fights. Luke never quit. All the shit that people talk about Luke being cocky, being arrogant, being a prima donna, all of those things. I'm sorry, but I know a lot of cocky, arrogant prima donnas that fucking don't have half the heart this guy has. So all of these things that people talk about, he can say and do whatever he wants. At the end of the day, when that week of the fight, he got in front of the microphone and did all the things that people were talking about, complaining about, and wah, like Jake Paul was doing. And he actually said it all blatantly to every fucking media person out there. Do something about fighter pay. Dana White, $100,000 or $50,000 bonus. What a joke. It is a joke. I think the bonuses are a joke in terms of the pay. Now, I know it's a bonus. We've gotten into this, John. You know, it's a bonus. I understand. $100,000 ain't gonna break your guys' bank account. $100,000 bonuses, 3 of them, whatever, that will change some of these young fighters' lives. That will change their lives. And I that bugs me a little bit. $50,000 is almost, especially for some of the other fighters like Luke and Kamaru Usman. I know they're getting bigger bonuses. We all know that. We understand that. We've heard fighters say, "Yeah, I've gotten $1 million bonus, you know, at home." And Anthony Pettis said he'd gotten 2 of them, you know, and so 2 or 3. Those bonuses are. Luke Rockhold went out on a limb and just said all the things that we've all been complaining about. He brought more light to it, and then for Jake Paul to attack him right now and do this, it's shameful. I agree with Ariel on this situation, but let me. I want to remind people of this. Jake Paul is doing this because he believes at some point maybe he can get a fight from Luke Rockhold. He believes that he understands that Paulo Costa's got 1 more fight left on his contract. That's a ploy, sure. But I want to remind people, if you guys follow Jake Paul at all, and there's a lot of people that do, let's be honest. Now that he's started making a splash in the MMA world, and I know he's got a YouTube, he's a YouTube guy.
You shut your whore mouth if you're following him.
No, I follow him on Twitter. I do follow him on Twitter. I do. And no, here's the thing, John. The reason why I can talk on this is because I do follow him on Twitter. I see what he does. And this is what he does, though. His fight with Rockman falls off. So what does he do? He starts attacking KSI or whatever the guy's name is.
KSI
starts going after him. Yeah, keeps going after him now. Yeah, kind of talking about, oh, let's fight now. Now that my card fell apart, let me piggyback on you and start talking shit to you. Then after that whole thing was whatever, now he's going to go around and turn around and come around on this. A year ago, he was handpicking his opponents. A year and a half. He's been handpicking his opponents. Now, he can't find people to fight him because they don't care anymore about him. Let's be honest. The YouTube boxing gimmick is done. We had our fun with it. It's over. They're talking about Andrew Tate now. They're talking about Logan Paul. But, John, let me just finish. They're done. No one, sure, it sounds like great. Let's watch these 2 knuckleheads fight. But there's nothing really behind it that we really care about. He's trying to get a fight with a real fighter. No, don't get me wrong. He fought T. Wood. T. Wood's not as big as him. And then T. Wood's not a boxer. To fight Luke Rockhold, I don't think has any desire to fight again. He's that guy. It's like, if he can't do it 100%, he doesn't want to do it. You saw that last Saturday night. If he can't give 100%, he doesn't want to do it. This guy is trying to make himself relevant when it comes to the MMA world. Still, he had his gimmick. It's done. It's ran its course. Let's move on. That's really what this is all about. He's trying to remain relevant by stamping his name to a UFC fighter that potentially has 1 fight left or has 1 fight left on his contract. In Paulo Costa, that fight may, so he can try to piggyback on him. Or he's trying to see if Luke if he can spark some interest in him. I'm just being honest. Be very careful because I know you all live in that LA area. Luke may just show up and whoop your ass for free. So, people don't realize Luke has a little bit of a mean streak in him, and he won't go chasing for it. But if you see him out, don't be surprised if he tries to slap you. Luke's that guy. Luke is a great guy, and he's fun to be around. But let's not be mistaken. He is still that guy. He's a fighter. That's who he is. And this is just, I think it's the play for him to try and piggyback on these other give himself to remain relevant. Now, maybe he's irrelevant in YouTube, John. Maybe he's still relevant in his YouTube stuff. But I don't know. I don't follow him that way. I follow kind of what he talks about in his boxing stuff and his fight stuff. I want to see what he's doing. Right now,
nothing.
He's not doing anything.
Nothing.
Exactly.
I'm fighting Tommy Fury. Who cares? Oh, that
Tommy
fight's
Fury?
off.
There's no interest for Tommy Fury to fight him.
Fighting Rockman Jr. Who cares? No, you're not.
Yeah.
It's just
all right. Next,
I would like to know the real reason why that fight was called, because it wasn't for weight.
No, it wasn't. Rockman, he proved it.
Yeah.
Got on the scale, and what was it, like weeks out? He was like at 206. He cut down to 206, whatever. He had plenty of time to make the weight.
Oh, easy. Yep.
Who changes a fight 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out
based upon a weight?
Based on weight. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So it had to do something else. Anyways,
ticket sales.
Ariel, I don't give you a lot of love, but I'm gonna give you a little love today. Great job, buddy. I appreciate it. I love it. I love what you did. Tip my hat to you, my man, and good job. Yeah. No sarcasm. No sarcasm at all. No sarcasm. No punking me. I'm being honest. I'm being real with you, buddy. Okay, great job. I appreciate that. Next.
No punking me. I like that.
No
like,
punk.
You should play that alter ego.
Just he took that part out, put it over here. I do got to say, hey, look, he's being a stand-up person because he's looking at losing money out of his pocket and having the ability to work a job by saying the stuff he's saying. So good job, Ariel.
All right, next story. Paulo Costa talks about making just 35,000 in his Vittori fight. I know, Josh, you had brought this up during the week before we filmed the show, so I wanted to let you get your point out on air today.
This is what we just talked about with Jake Paul. It's what we talked about with Luke Rockhold.
Yeah. Trying
to bring more attention to this. You've got top level fighters. If he just made $35,000, he got slapped with a ton of fines, though. Let's not let that.
There you go.
Let's not be distracted.
There you go. That's all I was going to say. Well, he kind of lost a lot of money.
It was $35,000 because you went from 185 to 205.
Yep.
And you did it. You basically did it the week of, the night before, or whatever it was, and you just didn't handle it professionally. And so not just the commission took some money from you, the promotion probably took some money from you. You pissed off a lot of people, man. And so to say, I only made $35,000, you did it to yourself. That's the biggest thing. You did it to yourself. And so I'm not going to be too sympathetic in that situation. But here's the thing, John. You lost how much money though? Because $35,000, the commission only takes 20%. When you don't make weight, unless I'm missing something. Am I missing something?
No.
They only take 20%. And let's just say the UFC took another 10. I don't know. I don't know if they even took anything. I don't know.
Why not?
That means that you weren't making much anyways. That's where we're kind of like, you've been in the top 5 since Joel Romero and all. Like, you've been in that talk and that conversation for a while. I don't know, John. Like, that's not a lot of money. If you lost 20%, and let's say you lost another 10 or 20 to the UFC, that's 40% of your purse.
But he's also it's not actually saying that this is exactly what he made.
Yeah.
Okay. He's saying that he made 35. Okay, but you got managers to pay for, you got trainers to pay for.
True.
You have the commission that you paid for because you didn't uphold what was the contract that they were given.
No.
There's just all kinds of things, and so I'm sure he walked away. You know, he didn't get it. He obviously didn't get a win bonus. He didn't win the fight, so he walked away with $35,000 in his pocket, and he wasn't happy. And I don't blame him. But a lot of this is just like you're saying. This is on you. You created this situation. And I hope to see you get paid much more. I think you're definitely, deserving much more. I thought that his performance against Luke Rockhold was actually really good.
I thought so too.
I thought he showed a ton of heart, ton of balls. He took some big fucking shots, and he kept coming after him. Was it all smart? No. But again, that's why it was the fight it was. And that fight had you on the edge of your seat thinking that Paulo was going to knock Luke out as Luke was exhausted against the cage, or Luke was going to throw one of those goddamn kicks that was going to hit Paulo in the head and put him on his keister, and it was going to be over. So, it was an enthralling fight. It was fun. Yeah. It had great freaking emotion on both sides. I loved it.
Yeah, I was actually I follow Luke on Instagram at Luke Rockhold, by the way, and he was doing some videos in the car. He's got his pup sleeping on his neck, on the way they drove back to from Salt Lake City back home, and making some stops, see some friends and stuff. He's got his pup on his neck in the in the car. He's got his other dog in the back, and he's got his feet up on the dash. And I kid you not, one of his obviously his back left foot looks like a fucking football.
It looks like a watermelon.
It was huge, man. I was like, all you saw was, it looked like a balloon with a bunch of little nubs
like
on
spuds
it.
On a potato.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. It looked like those little spuds on the potato, man. I was like, what the fuck? His nose, his nose was a little crooked, which he said he straightened on the way, and he showed it looked a little bit straighter. So he straightened it on the car ride home himself. So, but yeah, I thought Paulo fought a good fight. It's sad that $35,000 for Vettori. That's what happens. But you brought it upon yourself. I'm sure he's making decent money, but you got a lot of people to pay out, man. You got managers, trainers, all those things like you said. So, yep. But overall, good stuff. Next.
All right, we'll wrap up on this one. Justin Gaethje comments on the Islam Oliveira fight, and he's saying
coming after you, Thompson.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
You could tell by all the news that I've just really tried to trigger Josh on this show. Gaethje's basically saying he doesn't think, or rather, he's 100% confident that Islam won't dominate Charles. So let's get your thoughts on that.
Well, I'm sorry if I confused you, Josh. I wasn't meaning Justin Gaethje was coming after you. I'm saying Podcast Dave is coming after you.
Yeah.
He's pushing button after button.
This fucking guy. I swear.
I love
it. He's 100%. 100%?
He says
100%. That means 100%. That means not a doubt.
Yes.
Boy, he's got to take a drink.
Interesting. This is fun. I'm gonna go out on the record here. I'm gonna be. I think Islam's gonna make it look easy.
I'm gonna go out on the record. I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I'm not saying that Islam can't win the fight. He ain't gonna make it. He's not gonna make it look easy. Too good a fighter.
I think the longer this fight goes, the more easy it gets for him.
Okay.
And look, I could look.
Yes, you could be wrong.
No, yeah, I could be wrong. But here, that's why we fight the fight, right?
That is exactly why. Because there's
look,
someone sitting in a chair in Tennessee saying, I think this is a great matchup, and I think it is a tough fight for both guys. And there's a guy sitting in a chair in San Jose going, this is easy.
No. Let me
reword this. It is.
Let me reword this. Look,
okay.
I think he has the potential. Look, I think he has the potential to make this look easy. But let's be honest. I've said this countless times on this show. This is by far, hands down, his toughest fight to date. Hands down, his toughest fight to date, Islam Makhachev. And I also believe that Charles Oliveira, this is his toughest fight. Give me somebody else that's tougher that he's had to fight. Don't get me wrong. He's fought tough guys.
Yes.
Yeah. He's fought tough guys. Give me can you pull up Michael Johnson? Not
hold
Michael
on.
Johnson, but can you pull up Charles Oliveira?
All right, hold on. Yeah.
Pull up his
Do
record.
me a favor, Dave. I want you to pull up Charles Oliveira's record, and if you can put it side by side with the people
that's
that
not
he's
fair.
fought. No,
that's
stop.
not fair.
You stop right there.
No, stop, John. That's not fair. The reason being is because people until he started making this run, people were not afraid of Charles Oliveira. People have always been afraid of Islam. People don't want to fight him. People have turned him down. No one's ever turned down Charles Oliveira. They're like, I'll take that fight all day long. Because in the history of his career, sure, he was great. I agree. He's been fantastic. He was one of my favorite fighters when he first came on the scene. I loved the way he did his stand-up. I loved his attacks on the ground. I love everything about Charles Oliveira. I fucking now, to this day, still love everything about him. But back then, he had a little quit in him. People were not afraid to fight. People were not afraid to fight him.
I agree with you.
People have always been afraid to fight Islam.
He was a different fighter back then than he is now. I agree with you.
Okay.
And that's the difference.
Yes. I agree that is the difference. That will make it a tough fight. That will be the toughest fight for Islam. I agree.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
So hold on. I want you to just do me a favor here. As we look at Islam's record here since his last fight up there, it's got Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Thiago Moises, good fighter. Drew Dober, good fighter. He's got Arman Sarukian. Pick out the best fighter.
John, that is... Look,
I'm not saying this.
No. He's tried to fight all of those other guys that were ranked ahead of him. None of them will take him.
Stop. I'm not saying...
They won't fight him.
I'm not saying he's had an easy time getting matchups based upon people looking, going, oh, that's not a good matchup for me. I don't think I want that fight. I'm not saying that. But if you're going to be honest and look at that and say who's the most talented fighter that he has fought on that, we'll say this, list of 8.
Are you talking about on Islam's?
Islam's right now.
Oh, Saryukin, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay,
Absolutely.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I want you to take a look at what it says at the end. Decision.
Yeah, he was sick. He was sick on antibiotics that week. I get it. Go ahead.
I'm not saying
okay.
He got a decision. It was a tough fight. Okay, and
Sarukian's
got. Hold on. Take the antibiotics and throw them out the fucking window because they don't count. He took the fight. He fought the fight. I understand what you're saying. Luke Rockhold did the same thing when he fought Chris Weidman. Mm-hmm. It can have an effect, but he took the fight, and it was a good fight. It was a tough fight for him. You're going to tell me Sarukian is more talented than Oliveira?
Different.
I didn't say he's not different styles. You're going to tell me he's a tougher fight.
He dominated that fight, though, John.
He didn't dominate the fight. He won the fight. He won. Look, there's a big difference between dominating a fight.
I look at unanimous decision down there. It means that
hold on. I can point out fights that were great fights where they're unanimous decisions.
I agree with you.
Okay,
I agree with you. Yeah,
he had a good fight. Sarukian had his moments. They both did good things, and I agree. I'll say that Islam won the fight. But if you're taking a look at the difference in competition here,
I agree with that.
It's not close.
Absolutely,
not close, and that is a huge difference maker here, Josh. That's what all I'm saying is. That experience now, especially on the run that he's had, because I want you to show his last loss, which was now how many fights ago? 13 fights ago? Not Islam. Islam's only got the one against Martins. We know that. Paul Felder, long ago, okay, in 2017. We're talking close to 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years, and all of these wins. And against some fucking killer, he has changed his mentality as a fighter. And that change in mentality, that change in confidence, that change in I will not fucking stop, that same fucking thing that we just talked about with Luke Rockhold in that Paulo Costa fight that made us both go, God damn, dude, I love you because, I know you're dying and you're not going to quit. That's now the Charles Oliveira that Islam is fighting. He's fighting a different dude. That's all I'm saying.
You're saying he's not going to stop, but I'm saying he's going to be stuck on bottom, getting smashed, not knowing which way to move. And that's what my point is.
If there's one thing he knows, he knows which way to move. Now, he may not be able to get there.
He's going to go the way
I didn't say he's going to be able to get there, but he knows which way to move.
He's going to move the way Islam wants him to move. To the left or to the right, whatever it is. He's going to take that position. Look,
I cannot wait for this fight because we're going to have fun.
Everybody's man. Everyone's been blowing up my Instagram. Everyone's been blowing up. Look, I'm gonna ride for my boys. That's what I'm gonna do. Islam was one of my main training partners, sparring partners, everything in my camps. Him and I kicked a lot of things off of each other. But I'm gonna be honest. Justin Gaethje's probably trained a little bit with Islam. I've heard because they're all managed by Ali. And there's buzz and talk about it all.
Yeah.
But the conversation also has to be had that what you do in training is not always what applies in a fight. Now, I know that Islam, this is his biggest name. That's one.
By far.
Two is by
toughest
far
fight
biggest
by
name.
far.
Toughest fight by far. But John, let's talk about the fact that sometimes the one fighter that no one's really seen a lot of because they just haven't been able to see a lot of him, those are the guys that are dangerous to fight. Because you don't know exactly what their potential is in there until you get in there and feel them. Everyone said, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, that Khabib's not going to take me down and hold me down. Look what he fucking did. And Islam is another version of that, not the same style of wrestling. I've said that over and over. Maybe not the same type of control on the top, but he is a way better submission guy. And he understands the submission game a lot better than Khabib does. Now, Khabib is the better wrestler when it comes to his game plan and his strength and his control. But you talk to anyone that's wrestled with the two of them, Islam is the stronger guy. Comprehend that for people. Like, oh, now he is stronger on top. He's got the submission savviness of avoiding submissions and getting submissions. I think once he's able to control the top position for more than 2 minutes, for more than 2 minutes on the ground, I think this fight starts to go the other way. And I've always said this. Fighters that have been known to break in the past will eventually one day be known to break again. And Charles, maybe you're riding high, and I'm a huge Charles fan. I fucking love everything he's been doing. I love that he beat Michael Chandler. I love his fight with Justin Gaethje. I love all the fights that he has had. I love this new version of him. He's so casual about it all. He's got a good look. He fights his ass off.
Got a swagger
good on
now.
His feet. Got a swagger about him. I love that shit. I love it. I fucking slurp it up and I eat it up. I fucking love it, John. It's something to me that really gets me going when I'm watching these fighters get out there. Female fighters too, when they got a swagger about them, there's something about it makes me want to be like, hey, you're the person I want to follow. Charles has that right now. Islam maybe doesn't have it, but he's my boy. I'm going to ride that dude fucking all the way to the end. And so I just think, I really believe after one or two takedowns and control in the top position, that Charles is going to start to wilt a little bit, and we're not going to see the same Charles. Now, the beginning of the fight, the beginning of every round, you'll see it again. You'll see that swagger about him until the takedown. And then that swagger goes away. We saw it with Khabib and Conor. We've seen it a couple times with other fighters. The swagger goes away once you get taken down. So
not if you're Charles Oliveira and you're okay on your back. Okay. Like, this all comes down. I'm going to tell you this. When we did our last weighing in on the odds, and I made the comment about Luke Rockhold. I said, look, my heart tells me Luke, my head tells me Costa. But at the odds, I'm going to take Luke just because I put a little bit of money on that to try to win a lot instead of putting the other. You need to start learning about not betting with your heart, dude.
I don't bet on my friends, so
about
I'm good.
Your head.
I don't bet on my friends, man. I just don't. That's why, because I know my heart's in it too much. I know my heart's in it too much, and so I don't bet on my friends, man. I don't let my emotions get the better of me in these situations. But either way, it's going to be a fuking fantastic fight.
It is going to be a great fight.
But before you don't agree with Justin Gaethje, is what you're saying.
Who? We were talking about the Justin Gaethje. No, I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him at all.
That's awesome.
But before we wrap this show up, let's go to weighinginpodcast.com and pick up some of our merch. We've got all the different types of shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, everything available, long sleeve, short sleeve. Check it all out there at weighinginpodcast.com. We want to thank you for continuing to support this podcast. And you know how you guys can continue to support it? Hit the like and subscribe button down there on the bottom. Okay, hit that little bell for notifications. And thank you. John, take us away.
Everyone out there, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed. We have a great time talking this stuff up. Be kind to someone. Do something good just because you can. I don't care what it is. Make it a small thing, but it'll make you feel better, and we will see you.